Welcome to the CIPC's Awareness Podcast. This is a new initiative by CIPC for its busy entrepreneurs. My name is Shani Kelly and I am your podcast host. Greetings, everyone. My guest today is a senior manager from the Companies and Close Cooperation Unit of the CIPC, Advocate Krista Cloco, whom will be sharing information on annual returns. Welcome, Advocate. Can you please share with me a little background information on annual returns?
So, short and sweet, annual returns is an annual filing that basically you provide us with certain key information that confirm that your business is still doing business. What's your latest information?
Okay, that's brief. Now tell me, why is it important for our citizens to file their annual returns?
All right, and that's linked up directly to the scope of the CIPC. So the CIPC is the registry for all companies, close corporations, and co-ops in the country. We don't just collect the information. That information that we have is used by other government departments, other organizations to make economic decisions. So it's imperative that we have once a year the latest information of all companies and close corporations in order for that information to be accurate and therefore decision making relating to businesses to be accurate.
Okay, now if I do not file my annual returns, what is the consequences of that?
All right, so if you don't file your annual returns when it's due, you go into the next cycle. So by the second year that you don't file, we assume that you're not doing business, you're inactive. So we kickstart you into the deregistration process. We'll send you a few issues, issue you a few letters. And if you're still not compliant, we will finally deregister you.
Now tell me, you will send me a few letters. How will you communicate with me?
We predominantly communicate via email and SMS. So we remind you annually that it's time to file your annual return. Like, hello, it's that time of the year. We send that via email. So we need your email addresses for all the active directors. When you're on deregistration, we issue you a formal letter, also done via email. And again, we need the active email addresses of all the directors and members of the CCs, not that of your service provider, yours.
Okay, so it's very important that we update you with our correct email address and email addresses. Am I correct?
It's imperative. If you don't give that to us, how are we supposed to communicate with you?
And tell me something, if I remember correctly, in the annual returns process, you do ask us for our email address and cell phone numbers.
You basically confirm what we have on registry. If you can always check via the BIS portal whether we've got your accurate details. If we don't, if you're a director of a company, you file a call 39 with your correct contact details. If you're a member of a close corporation, you file a CK2 with that information with us.
Okay. Now, you said it's the reason why it's important for us to file our annual returns. Let's come to the cost aspect. How much does it cost a business entrepreneur to file the annual returns?
Well, yes, unfortunately, there is a fee. A lot of our other services don't carry a fee when you file with us, like a director change. So we charge a fee. The minimum fee is 100, and if you file late, it's a 50 rand. Of course, how bigger your company are, the higher your annual returns and your penalty will be.
So depending on my turnover, I will file my annual returns accordingly.
That's great.
Now tell me, if I file my annual returns once a year, am I correct? It's on the month of my anniversary.
That's
So
correct.
are you telling me that I just need to pay 100 Rand once a year to keep my company active?
That's correct.
Okay. Regarding SARS, is the annual return the same as SARS, or are we looking at two different entities?
Right. So this is a tad a bit of a longer answer. It's two different organizations. So in every organization has got its own purpose. So CIPC is a registry of corporate, of businesses. SARS is to collect tax on behalf of the state. So an annual return with the CIPC is not the same as a tax return.
Okay, that simplifies it. Is there any other information that you feel our citizens need to understand or know the importance of regarding annual returns?
Right. So one key thing about annual returns, there is serious consequences if you upon final deregistration. Um, Basically, you stop existing as a business, and the directors and the members can be held personally liable for all the debts of the company and CC. So deregistration has got serious consequences if you've got outstanding liabilities and contracts, for example.
Okay, say I forget to pay my annual returns. My company is deregistered. Is there any way I can get my company in an active status again?
Yes, there are, but there's a condition to it. Right? So you can do something called a reinstatement. You file a document with us. You say, sorry, oops, we forgot to file. But you have to prove that you've got economic value. So if you were dormant and there were no financial transactions, we're not going to reinstate you. But if you can prove with your bank statements at the time of deregistration that there were movement in your bank account, you owned assets like property, or you've got outstanding liabilities, for example, with SARS or another organization, we will reinstate you. And then you'll have to file all the outstanding annual returns. Be very careful here. If you've been deregistered for 10 years, you're going to file annual returns with penalties for 10 years. If
Oh,
you
is
were
that with
outstanding for
penalty?
with penalties. So if you were deregistered for 5 years or outstanding for 5 years, you're going to pay 5 years worth of fees and penalties. So you need to evaluate whether it's going to be better for you to register a new company if you don't have any liabilities or assets. So sometimes registering a new company is better.
Financially for me.
Yes, considering the costs, yes.
Will I get the same name as I had previously?
Not necessarily. The reason being is that names are subjective to what is on the company's registry at the time of reserving the name. So somebody else may have come across while you were deregistered, applied for the same name. Because you were deregistered, we gave that name to the person. Or somebody came along with a name that's similar to yours. That person now has got the name. Now when you reinstate, you're going to be in conflict with that other person. And then between you and that other company, you'll have to go to the company's tribunal to resolve who's got the strongest uh, legal right to the name.
Okay. Thank you so much for that information. I truly appreciate it. We have come to the end of this podcast. We hope our listeners are now better informed of the importance of filing their annual returns. And I hope they will comply to continue filing their annual returns. Thank you so much, Advocate.
Thank you
Goodbye.
very much. Bye.